Nature's Prophet.
I'll tell you what, John, I love these panoramic shots once again from our observers. Very, very beautiful shots from on our map here. Of course, early tips coming up between these two teams, something we expect from these two as well. Of course, again, bit of beef. I mean, I'm sure they've put it aside, but, you know, get it through right now if you can. During game number one. OG already grouping up in the mid lane, ready to go for an early team fight. Thunder Awaken, not so much. See if they do end up getting caught out, but it looks like Thunder should be very, very cautious here and not make their way up to that high ground of the Dire. See if something does break out. Of course, very excited as well, John. The OD popping out for BZM, something we haven't seen in quite a bit. But I mean, what do you think about this hero? Do you think it's back into the meta now?
I think it can work in a lot of lineups. It does have a certain pacing to it. It still does. It combines pretty nicely with the Mars of Amar. It can also work against it. So it's all about timing. OG should be able to kind of synchronize on that just fine. But they need to really win out in lanes. And the mid lane matchup for BZM does feel better up against a Tiny. Well, maybe level 1, level 2 isn't as great, but by the time you hit level 3, level 4, you get some support rotations in. You can kind of bully out that Tiny.
I'll start off with that mid lane, of course, Dark Mago on that Tiny. We've seen this man play this multiple times, and he does tend to put on a hell of a performance against BZM's OD. You'd imagine the OD might have a bit of an advantage, especially once you have a couple levels up. Of course, level 1 Dark Mago should have a bit of an advantage in terms of the CS war, considering you do have that tree grab. See, that bonus damage can be very annoying to play against for BZM. But as the levels go up, you'd assume BZM should just be able to take over this mid lane.
Yeah, he's just going to be able to zone. He's got the range advantage. He can play around with the Astral. They've got pretty good rotation potential coming out if they do manage to get the space to bring that Rubik down, although getting a little bit back and forth up top. Another tri-lane start for Thunder Awaken. We saw them do this yesterday, and it was a tri-lane on tri-lane. This time around, OG just kind of shifting Amar up top, but he is still being tracked by Pakaz.
Certainly is, John. Certainly is. Amar, of course, and Chu going to be there together. Pandamu, Matthew, and Pakaz going to be together. We'll see how effective this tri-lane can be. So we are going to have a pause, Jonathan, naturally. SEA pause, we've got to have it done. I may as well ask you, I mean, I know we're live on land right now, but have you had merienda, John?
Actually, no, not today. We dipped out last time around to a little coffee shop, had some Western food.
What?
That was, yeah, we went to the Western food in KL. That was weird, but it was good. Like, the chicken cutlet was pretty nice. You know, we went to the mamak stalls, had some
Can you talk about
satay.
the Malaysian food, Jonathan? We're in front of a Malaysian crowd. Can you
we
talk
had some
about the
satay.
Malaysian
It's good.
food here?
Satay is great. It's my favorite. You had a good time. Nasi lemak was fun to watch everyone else eat because the sambal's just really hot, but I love that spice.
Yeah.
Just as spicy as this game is.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost died eating it, Jonathan. It was a bit too hot for me, but certainly delicious, that's for sure. Still, hopefully pause ends very, very soon. How's the bottom lane? I mean, I know we've just started. Is there anything we can expect down at that bot lane, John, or do we expect a rather boring lane here?
It should be a stable farming lane. You've got... It is the Viper lane with Uragi as well and the Monkey King, so they're going to be able to secure that farm. It's a solo lane for Sacred, which can be annoying up against the Viper. Taiga can just kind of poison attack, has 3 mangoes on hand, ready to just deal with Sacred. Does miss the chains.
Whoopsie.
Cop more damage here.
A little bit short there, Sacred. He'll put the hand up. Tiger will just get right back to work. And like you said, John, against the Viper, very, very annoying. Thing is, Sacred, if he can just get through those initial levels, he should be just fine. Problem is, Uragi's going to have the freest lane of his life. Already 8-2 in terms of CS. Absolutely no contest for the Monkey King. And, well, that's going to be a massive concern. We've seen Uragi put on a hell of a show on this MK, and you give him a free lane like this, John, it's probably not going to be good news for Thunder Awaken.
No, he's going to be able to farm up quite fast. You can keep up pace there with Pakaz. It is a Nature's Prophet, so you can work the map pretty damn well. But you don't want to give that free start. We've seen Sacred off to a slower start before. It can get a little bit slower.
He has rotated over, so they actually give up on the tri-lane. I suppose not really working out in their favor. Maybe Sacred just kind of calling him over, saying, listen, I do need a bit of support here. And, well, now he will have it. Goes back into the mid lane, BZM and Dark Mago going at it once again. Dark Mago so far not struggling too much. BZM, same CS as the Tiny. Again, as the levels go up, you'd assume the OD should have an advantage, but at least for now, Dark Mago is still having a very, very good time. Of course, it probably is going to be all about those power runes for that Tiny going into that 6-minute mark, but we're still a few minutes away from that.
Yeah, and for Thunder Awaken, they do have really strong supports from both sides. The Ogre Matthew, maybe not as much, but the Hoodwink Matthew can do a lot of work if you manage to get someone out of position. And even Pakaz can show up if he wants to, once he's got that teleportation up. So the aggression from Thunder Awaken can kick off maybe a little bit faster than OG, so you're not going to expect Uragi to be dancing around the tree line all too often in the early game, in comparison to that NP more than willing to take a fight and split push.
Absolutely. top lane again. Thunder Awakening giving up on the tri lane, not really working out the way they wanted. Of course, Amar looks like he's having a very good time with this Mars. No surprises there, John. The man loves his hero. Pandamu, not really much he can do against the Mars either, even as the Ogre, trying to snipe the courier, but won't quite have enough damage. This bot lane, bit of a chase. Matthew gonna get taken down by Uragi. First one to go their way. Tiger, he does get traded here by Sacred, but it's still gonna be a very good trade for Uragi.
Yeah, great kill to find. Again, you mentioned that laning matchup for Uragi. He's already off to a strong start, #1 in CS board. And there's really not much Sacred can do to stop that. Maybe they land the chain stunts out from Matthew and try to dive in. He did opt to go level 2 Timber Chain and the value point and the Whirling Death, so no armor here. He knows that even with the armor, he's probably dead. Might as well try to get some damage in and maybe look for those kill opportunities, clear out the wave, and keep that farm game up.
Do you think there's a point during this laning stage where Sacred can kind of fight back, like as the Timber, even against the Viper? Is there a stage where he just stops caring?
Level 6 is usually that point. Chakram can do a lot of work there, so maybe just hold out, get that solo XP. They've done a great job spacing Matthew out just to give that space to the Timb.
BZM, he'll be able to secure the other water rune, though Dark Mago going to try and be annoying and maybe go for a bit of a toss back, as he does actually find one and does secure the second water rune. Very nice from Dark Mago. BZM, not that he really needs it, but would have rather just denied it away from the Tiny. Now will cop a fair bit of damage from that same Tiny, but will be just fine to remain within that laning stage. Dark Mago, though, happy days for him, John. Another bottle refill for himself.
Yeah, and he's really doing a good job holding off in the mid. We're not seeing as much trades coming out from BZM. Dark Mag has been on point with his mana management, getting great spell use out to clear out the wave and get some decent harassment off as well. And the Tiny does come in line fast.
Mid lane, that's a nice avalanche into the toss-up. BZM, he's going to very far and try and survive through this into the lift. He does survive. Choose there in time. Dark Mago, he should just be fine to back off, but the imprisonment is there. Still Pakaz now. He'll teleport in. BZM, he will get through the tree line. Can they take him out? Dark Mago, he's dropping low himself, but he's still going for the kill. Toss-up, is it enough? BZM finally goes down. Oh, just barely. Dark Mago is able to get himself out. Very nice TP rotation here from Pakaz.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, right? The NP is going to show up early. Pakaz is more than willing to go for those kill opportunities, leave the lane alone, just TP back, and get the kills lined up. The Tiny's going to be online much faster as well compared to the OD, so this kind of start's great.
Sacred can end up dropping here. Able to take down the Timber. Tiger having a very good time with that Viper. It's BZM. Mid lane again, just going to try and deal with Matthew here on that Hoodwink. We'll just try and force him back a little bit, which is fine. So 2 for 2 now, very slight net worth lead the way of OG. Everything's still very, very even between these two. But you look back at the CS board, John, Uragi, he's just having such a good time.
Yeah, he's having a great time. There's just no contest coming out from Sacred, and that can be a concern. #1 in effort already very early on, can build fast into that Maelstrom, can opt to play the farming game right after as well, maybe wait for the BKBs before fully committing, and it does give them good wave clear under 1 to kind of handle that split push from Pakaz as well.
They're going to try and go into Dark Mago. Astral Imprisonment not going to be there, and now the Bushwhack to turn around as Dark Mago will go for the toss back in onto Matthew and Tiger. He might get punished here. Astral Imprisonment will be out on Dark Mago, but it's not going to make the difference. And now Pandamu does rotate as well. They'll drive the BZM. He's a bit of a harder target, but it may not matter. He's still going to drop. Matthew able to take a double kill on the Hoodwink because even Chu shows up. On the Rubik, he may have just spit another kill back the way of Thunder Awaken. Into the Roshan pit he goes. He activates Roshan. Chu, can you actually get a deny off here? Not quite. Dark Mago able to secure the kill on the Tiny. And that's 3 kills to go back the way of Thunder Awaken.
Yeah, the aggression is just ramping up once more here from Thunder. We've seen this again yesterday. This is how a lot of South American teams play, and OG just don't seem quite ready for it. They're just grouping around their Tiny. They dive a bit too deep in the tower, and then the punishment just goes from there.
It certainly does. You just see BZM getting caught out. Pandamu with a very nice rotation, and BZM just not really expecting it. Of course, as that Rubik as well, there's just not really much you can do to help out. You've got Lift, you've got Fate Bolt, and that's about it right now. It's not the greatest kind of save potential here from this Rubik. Eventually, he does end up getting caught out. So a nice little kill lead here for Thunder Awaken. 1k net worth lead still sitting the way of OG, though, and again, that is basically just all Uragi and ATF, who have been just been sitting back and hitting creeps this whole time. They understand the game plan, John. No need to go for these kills this early on. Just hit some creeps.
Yeah, the issue for OG is that they're sacrificing their OD to kind of get the space out for the Monkey King and for the Mars. Like, And the OD is not the best here to play from behind, especially if BKB timings are rushed by Thunder Awaken. So they've got to have a bit of a recovery plan in place. Maybe by the time Amar is ready to go on Mars, you can kind of shift the priorities, let the OD farm up more and build up.
Bit of a sneak around here from this hoodwink. Uragi going to avoid the tree line for now, and Matthew will not be able to land a bushwhack. So a nice avoid there from Uragi. There were a couple rotations incoming from Thunder Awaken, but they won't be able to make the kill happen that they wanted. The Monkey King maybe to rotate back into the jungle and farm there instead. Meanwhile, OG hanging around that mid lane, just making sure BZM doesn't get caught out one more time, as Dark Mago will also rotate back down into that mid lane, and of course won't really be able to go for a kill quite yet, but certainly he's having a look around for one. BZM being very careful with his positioning as bottom lane. Tiger gonna get caught out. Matthew able to secure a kill on the hoodwink. Another nice kill, and Matthew, he's very good at this, John. Already onto a killing spree.
Yeah, he's just scouting forward, cutting off the movement of OG into the lane and just forcing them to play so far back. Uragi's just hanging by the tier 1, can't go up to clear. They've managed to clear out space up top. Amar is farming freely, but Picasso is also just jungling now. He's got the power treads up with a casual Blightstone into the Witchblade. He's kind of set to just get that net worth up, maybe look for the split push when TA is ready to clump up.
Amar's going to get a bit aggressive, but won't bother going for a Spirit Temple onto Picard's, not underneath that tier 1 tower at least. Picard's another kind of carry that's just been sitting back and farming quite a bit. Still about 700 gold behind Uragi. Of course, as an MP, though, you should be able to catch up quite effectively, but for now, just a little bit behind. Not too big of a deal. Is now Sacred will be chased down by Chu, but they cannot secure the damage output. So Chu just going to be just fine as Dark Mago now shows up. That'll be another kill to go the way of the Tiny. Chu just getting caught with his pants down in that Radiant jungle. Does get taken out. So Thunder Awaken still kind of the kings of the early game so far. Just kills always going their way. And OG, again, just very patient, very calm. Not overreacting, just sitting back and hitting some creeps.
Yeah, they're getting some decent farm coming out. Again, BZM's probably the one that's hurting the most, jungling up top already. There's some good vision from Thunder Awaken to keep track of that. Really good wards watching the jungle. So again, if they can kind of line up their sights here, maybe start to bring Pecans down mid, pressure that tier 1 mid when they're ready, and invade that jungle, you can really cut off that game of BZM. Again, BKBs do feel like a high priority for Thunder Awaken. That's going to nullify a lot of what they want to do.
Absolutely. OG, of course, building their own BKBs, at least on ATF, I believe it was. And Uragi, of course, Echo Saber is the first build-up. Yep. Amar, straight into the BKB. No messing around for him. Doesn't really need the Blink Decker quite yet, would rather the magic immunity and survivability. Meanwhile, Picard's building into the Witch's Blade, pretty standard on Nature's Prophet these days. Very, very strong item to build up into, and obviously allows that early aggression as well on the Prophet. We'll have that up very, very soon, and I expect to see him rotating with his team once he does have that available. For now, again, bit of a quiet period, but a nice avalanche in onto Tiger, but where's the toss back?
Oh?
Whoops. They end up missing this one around. In fact, now the turnaround onto Dark Mago on an arena around. ATF, he's there.
Oh.
Toss out, but they do take him down. Hammer drop by BZM and ATF. Great rotation. Really paying off for the side of OG.
Yeah, they needed that. They needed to relieve that pressure mid. A little bit of a misplay coming out there from Dark Mago. Not something we see too often, but hesitation on the toss back. Maybe just not quite in range, trying to walk backwards, not wanting to commit too hard. And that does give OG a lot more play. Like, you have activity there from BZM, great use of his first ult, and now the OD can start to really catch up here.
You see that Master Yi being in, it's just not great news if you are Thunder, as the arena barely catching Dark Mago, and there's just no way out for him. He tried to go for the toss back, but of course you just drop the sanities, no hesitation whatsoever. BZM is very happy to have that opportunity and does take it every single time. Thunder Awaken, they are going to smoke up as two. Dark Mago and Matthew, they'll rotate as a team. Question is, who do they end up finding? They'll run right into BZM. Not the easiest kill in the world, but the avalanche toss combination you might have enough as the tumblers are going to be there. No astral prism in time, and with the sharpshooter, they should have more than enough damage. Very, very important kill there for the side of Thunder Awaken as they start to head towards the mid-tier 1 tower. See if they can get some chip damage off here, John.
Yeah, they've got Sacred ready to go. He's got the Ring of Health up, and he's got 2 points in the reactive, so he can tank the tower for the team, force that pressure in. OG have got to find a way to slow that down. Again, their top jungle is very exposed once this tower falls, but without the arena, or at least without the TP from Marvel, he's hitting over.
It's going to catch Chu. ATF, he's there. He's got 2 on the arena. Pandamu and Matthew both in trouble as the avalanche going to land from Chu. Lock him down, take him out. ATF once again setting up for the side of OG. And it's just so important, especially in this kind of meta, you've got to hold on to that mid-tier one. You can't let it go this early.
Yeah, they took a little bit too long on TA to take that fight. I think if they just instantly went for that play instead of the smoke play up top, they might have been able to take that tower while certain TPs were still on cooldown. That's a little bit of space coming out for TA on Pakaz. Again, he's kind of taking the backseat. Does have the full Witchblade up, but TA, you know, they should know Arena's down, a couple of TPs are down. If OG start to split up again, they should be able to commit to that mid-tier one, although that would almost be like bashing their heads against a wall if it fails.
My issue for TA, though, like you look at the net worth graph, John, the only person really doing well right now is the Prophet. As they do go for another toss back onto Tiger. Should be an easy kill onto the Viper. They do go for the Viper strike, but a nice sharpshooter. Matthew, he'll get the job done. Back to my point, though, John. You look at the net worth graph, because he's having a fantastic time. Everyone else on his team, though, struggling quite a bit when it comes to the gold department.
Yeah, that is reminiscent of their game 2 up against NGX, where everyone was struggling just for Pakaz to find farm. And it still worked out, so I'm not too worried about that. I think the issue right now is that maybe Pakaz isn't as ahead as you'd want him to be. He does manage to push out top, so that's already one tier 1 down.
Bottom lane, Yuragi. He'd be a massive pick-off if they can secure, but Yuragi, he's going to go for the fight. Meanwhile, that dire triangle 2 is going to go down to Pandamu. Can they keep going? BZM, he'll go for the chase into Dark Mago. Instead, Panda, he might be targeted by BZM, but the Fire Blast is there. Bakaz, he's going to rotate in. BZM, he'll drop the hammer, but it's not going to matter. Tiger, he'll go for a Viper strike. Dark Mago, can he get himself out with the TP? Oh, yes, he can. He'll be just fine. Thunder Awaken, a 3-for-1 trade. They don't find Yuragi, but they still find a great trade for themselves.
Yeah, and that was a very split-up fight. A fight on 2 fronts to get that nice pick-off in the triangle, hook up into the bottom area fight, and just have their full force ready. OG just maybe not quite ready for the aggression. Again, Pakaz has been very inactive outside of that one rotation mid, and he just shows up. He knows he's ready to take some fights, and his BKB almost done off the back of those kills.
Still such a close game, John. Less than 1k net worth lead the way of OG. Again, Pakaz, he's starting to get out of control though on that Prophet. 8k, we know how fast these Prophets can farm, and as we said, with the Witch's Blade up, he's happy to rotate every single time a team fight does break out. Just help out his team with all that damage. Thunder Awaken, keeping this game very even, 12-7 so far. OG, they're going to go for a 2-man smoke here with Yuragi and Chu. ATF, meanwhile, will show up in the mid lane. There is going to be a bit of a wraparound here. Yuragi, he'll scout out as Chu will back him up. They might run right into Matthew on the hoodwink. Yuragi, see if he does spot him out soon, but not quite. Matthew is going to have the high ground advantage anyway, but Yuragi eventually going to see the hoodwink. Will try. Lift will be there. Matthew, Boundless Strike does connect. They'll take him out. Nice little pick up there for the side of OG.
Yeah, it's a nice pickup and it's a nice spell steal. A free bushwhack for True. That can turn these fights.
Nice deny on the invis. Dark Mago still going to be able to run his way out anyway. ATF not able to get in range in time to go for the arena. Meanwhile, Pandamu going to cut them off here on the Ogre, all by himself. In they go, though. A massive avalanche toss combination, but it's not enough. Dark Mago, he'll get caught out in the arena, taken down. Now Sacred, he'll try to man up, but it's not going to be enough. OG, in they go. Pandamu, he'll be the 3rd target. Bushwhack will land. Yuragi on a killing spree. Great team fight for the side of OG.
Oh yeah, they clean up well. I mean, it felt like a pretty forced fight. They just go into the high ground. They get the good avalanche toss, but the follow-up damage just wasn't there. The chakram doesn't connect onto Taiga, and the tree line was cut off by the arena, so they didn't have any way of working any sort of damage out. And Pakaz just opts to not join in as well. So you're down numbers, you're down damage. OG manages to, again, build up here, get a lot of needed gold necessarily onto BZM. And it's still all in on Pakaz. Like, you have the BKB on the NP.
Tiger.
This is a fighting build.
Mid lane, jump in onto the Viper. They'll take him out. And that'll be the mid tier 1 tower to drop, I think. They will clip it up, but it shouldn't matter. Eventually, it will go down. OG not going to be there in time to try and defend. As Thunder Awaken, immediately they smoke up as 2 and head down towards the south. Keep in mind, Yuragi does pick up the Maelstrom now, so a bit more bonus damage on his end of things, but a great bushwhack out into the tree line. Sharpshooter, it should land perfectly. They should have the damage output, and they will. Matthew, just no hesitation, going for the blind bushwhack and landing it perfectly.
Oh, this support duo from Thunder Awaken's just been fantastic throughout this tournament. They've been really good with just smoking up as two. They have faith that their cores will catch up. Pakaz finally willing to show up to these fights as well. Take a freebie on the tier 1 down bot, opening up the map much more. Now you're going to reach the point here where OG has to wonder where Pakaz is at. Does he have teleportation ready? Is he farming a lane? Is he farming the jungle? You don't have the best forward vision here for OG. They do have one little ramp ward on the bot jungle and one defensive ward up top, but not much really to watch that.
True, lift up, ATF, he'll go for the arena. Avalanche was there. Can they get the damage output? It does seem like they can. Dark Mago, he'll drop a Pakaz. He's going in with his BKB. 1v5 here for Pakaz. There goes Tiger. Wukong's command out. Pakaz, can he get out? Yes, he can. Still OG. They do get the advantageous team fight, but there was a buyback here from Dark Mago, and Sacred's gonna drop. Great pickoffs here for OG as Dark Mago. He just bought back. On that Tiny, he needs to back his way out of there. Pakaz, he'll TP back in. Amar, he'll hold the shield up. They won't have the damage for the Mars right now. They will keep trying with the Avalanche. It's not going to land. Back in on the Tiny. They lock him down. Can they get the tie back? Primal Spring in. Uragi, he'll try for it. A nice toss back though, not allowing Uragi to get the damage he needed. So the Tiny does have back his way up, but OG still getting a massive team fight win, and the buyback of Dark Mago really just not paying off at all.
No, big win for OG, forcing that nice buyback in the Tiny, just not finding a proper position at that point. And you had Sacred really far off in the back end of that fight. He does need more protection on that Timber saw, it feels like. Maybe once he has his own BKB up, if that's something he'd want, you won't have as much trouble up against the OD, but if you don't manage BZM, he's just going to melt you.
Oh, here comes Sacred. He sees a low Mars. Pakaz, oh, he was TPing in. He cancels it off in the end. Meanwhile, Matthew, he's found Uragi. Sharpshooter and Bushwhack gonna land. They'll find the Monkey King. That's a cheeky little combination, John. The Sprout with the Bushwhack, very hard to play against.
Yeah, and they've been picking off really well with that. You do have a nice stolen spell once more for Chu. He does have the stolen sharpshooter. That might work against TA very nicely. Break on the Timbersaw, additional choices outside of just Taiga's break is going to be pretty big. And so far, Chu's been doing a great job in that Rubik as well, every time he gets one of those hoodwink spells. Still, TA, again, getting some activity out with Pakaz. I'm keen to see if he goes for the shard here, Mike. We heard a panel talk about it a little bit. That new shard, I mean, you don't get the greater treants anymore. You do apply that curse, you get some vision out. Could be interesting to see in the split push and a bit of those bigger fights.
It's a weird chance, but I can't wait to see how it does pan out if they do go ahead and pick one up. We'll see how it works out. As for now, 18 to 15, still very just less than 1k net worth lead the way of OG. It's such a close game between these two, which is what we wanted to see. Just a nice close series here between these two teams. Now OG just going to take a backseat. Again, keep that farm up and maybe just bait with Tiger in the mid lane. Under Awaken, wrapping around through the dire jungle.
And run.
Matthew already on the hunt there on the hoodwink, seeing if somebody will show up the top lane. For now, nobody taking the creep wave from the side of OG, but BZM realizing something is wrong. We'll just have a lot of patience here, just waiting very cautiously. And now OG, they might use him as bait. They will smoke up. Up towards the top lane they go. Ma, he'll frontline for the team as they might run right into the Ogre. Pandamu, he'll go for a run, but Amar right on the chase. Pandamu's going to be just fine though. You'd rather not commit the arena just for the +5 Ogre anyway. So ATF just going to leave him be. Couldn't get in range anyway. With that, Thunder Awaken going to be just fine.
Yeah, just a little bit of a wasted smoke. Not losing out on too much as TA isn't finding anything really. It's a bit of a farming period for both teams. Keen to see Amar going back to the Ags build up here on the Mars. So it's going to be highly effective, especially once he has a source of lifesteal. He's going to be really tanky up front. You're relying a lot on maybe a bit of a break from Matthew, if you can land that, to kind of soften him up. At the same time, again, you're worried about how much Pakaz is getting, how much you're allowing Dark Mago to kind of build up as well into his own BKBs. These early BKBs will just heavily impact what you can expect out from BZM.
Well, you've got the blink up now coming out on ATF, so I think OG, they might go for another big smoke up. Even the Aether Lens on Chu. There's a lot of power spikes coming in now for OG. To see if they want to group up and try to get a bit of a surprise reveal on these items. Now ATF continues the farm game. No rush for him. Thunder Awaken, they'll do the exact same. I mean, while Pakaz is farming this Waldron, there's just no need to try and force a fight for Thunder Awaken. He's already 4k ahead of Uragi. and it's not planning to slow down anytime soon. So OG, they have smoked up into the mid lane. Dark Mago, he's going to get caught by the lift. Amar locks him down and takes him out. A very important kill here for OG, and that will open up the mid tier 1 tower.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice, easy push for them. You don't have the Tiny to kind of reposition them. And again, Sacred isn't as tanky as before. The changes to Timbersaw kind of make it a little bit tougher to hit that max potential on the reactive. So it's going to be a pretty late tier 1 for OG, still an important objective to take, as now they can cut off that bot jungle, maybe invade that triangle and prevent Thunder Awakening from just constantly getting that build up. So good smoke use out. TA though, don't seem too dissuaded, as you mentioned there, Mike, just kind of relaxing, kind of getting that build up. Silver Edge fully up now on Pakaz, so they've got their own source of break, and a really good way for him to zip in and out from lanes and just kind of get that split push going.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Prophet, right? Like, you're just so confident going into the late game, even against the Monkey King, that you should be able to carry through with this pos 1 Prophet. And with the farm advantage, obviously they understand they can just keep it going and eventually just move their way up into the Roshan pit, into the high ground. Yuragi, he'll try to keep up, and of course does have the BKB up now. They did just commit a smoke though, so maybe they'll just wait a little bit, but you might want to go for a reveal with that BKB up as well. See what does end up happening here. It's Thunder. They will head down towards the Radiant jungle now. Just hanging around there instead, see if they can find OG. OG, they'll rotate across the other side of the map though. Doesn't seem like they're quite interested in the team fight for now.
Yeah, they're just holding off themselves, maybe again waiting for that BKB on BZM this time around. So maybe just not willing to take the risk with Yuragi up front and getting that build up. You are, again, reaching critical mass here on Pakaz, working onto the Satanic next here on Nature's Prophet. And if you don't manage to pin him down first, it can be dangerous. Smoke out from OG though.
Could be a big team fight to come. OG, again, BKB up on Yuragi. He'll be feeling confident. They won't find anyone from Thunder Awaken yet though. Ma, he will show himself mid lane. In fact, they ping out Roshan. They'll go for that instead. You can't find the other team, just go for the next objective. Thunder Awaken. Are they going to recognize Roshan as happening? Because this will be a big loss on their side of things. Certainly a team fight they can afford to take, but it seems like OG will be able to get away with this one completely for free. No punishment.
No vision out from TA. The scan comes way too late out from Thunder, and that's going to be big. That's going to be a nice little boost here for BZM to hold the front line. His BKB is almost done. If they maybe just wait like 2 minutes or so, get that recipe into his backpack, have the full BKB plus Aegis on the OD, suddenly you're looking at a different story in these fights. TA, they've got to find a way to angle themselves in. I mean, all the farm in the world here for Pakaz, but let's admit it, he's not been split pushing as much. He's been much more focused on the jungle, on just stabilizing lanes instead of pushing objectives. And that does secure his position a lot more. At the same time, the map is still more even than you'd want with Nature's Prophet at this point in the game.
Yeah, certainly so. You wonder now as well, like with the Aegis up on Yuragi, is it time for OG to just group up and set a pace in this game? Is this their time, John? Is this their power spike?
Yeah, it pretty much is. You've got 2 BKBs on 2 of your cores, triple BKB actually with a Mars as well. So you've got a really good point to just run up and do some damage. You don't need to worry about the Tiny, you don't need to worry about that Timbersaw and his output, even though Hoodwink kind of fades away there with the spell immunity. So this is their window to just kind of take back more of the map or close it out.
He'll get caught out here in that dive triangle. A very nice easy kill for ATF. Not the biggest kill in the world, John, but you'll take what you get right now. Thunder Awaken, still not interested whatsoever. Trying to go for a fight. They will start the split push now with Pakaz. Of course, Yuragi will go ahead and address those trains immediately. Thunder Awaken, I mean, is there a point where you think the Prophet just is done scaling, John? Is there ever a point where he's done farming?
No, I mean, he can just build up as much as he wants because he has a lot of
Bot
slots.
lane, Dark Mago, he'll go for a TP out. Lift is there though. True, he makes it in time, and Dark Mago, he will drop. OG finds another. Meanwhile, top side though, Tiger. He will go down, but still a very positive trade the way of OG.
Yeah, you're definitely happy. You take out that Tiny that's still trying to work into its own BKB. A bit of a slower game for Dark Mago and Sacred this time around. As, again, we've seen before. This isn't the most uncomfy position that we've seen Thunder Awakening in, when OG are just keeping the game a lot more even as well. And it does feel like as it scales on, back to your question about the NP, I mean, you're trying to scale up against, you know, an Axe build-up Mars, the Monkey King, and the OD. All of those scale really well.
I don't know if you got spotted there by Matthew. You might have a look around here, get some vision down. Meanwhile, Chu does reveal himself on the right side of that mid lane, does take the treants away from himself, so a bit of split push action for him, as they do actually find a double damage room for Pakaz. Bottom tier 2 tower going down. Maybe they can force the fight with this DD rune, but it's already too late. The bottom tier 2 does drop OG. Immediately look for the retreat, and they will do so. Looks like the DD rune not really going to be utilized either by Pakaz. Sit back once again in his own triangle, just keep that farm going. No need to try and force the fight quite yet. That the supports might have tried to get something done as the bushwhack. They've got ATF, but a nice imprisonment out from BZM, saving the day and allowing ATF a way out of this one. Quick hands here from BZM.
That's huge. Pakaz just used his BKB, so it's not going to be available for maybe a minute 10 here. It's an opening for OG if they do want to play again. They still have their Aegis up for a fairly long time, 2 minutes 20 seconds around about there, and they're just managing to work the map better. 3K up. Losing that tier 2 tower first for Thunder Awaken is not in the game plan. They've got the NP.
Bound to strike out. He's found Matthew. Sacred, he'll be around the corner, but Matthew's still being chased by Uragi. Eventually won't be able to finish the kill, so Dark Mago moves in, but ATF, he's going to be able to back him up. He's gone too far. The Tiny, he'll pop his BKB, but it's not going to matter. He'll drop. His BZM still going for the fight against Sacred, but Sacred, he needs to back out of there. He can't deal with the Monkey King right now. Another great kill for OG, finding that mid Tiny. Sadly, no real objectives to play for, but maybe they can move into that mid tier 2 tower.
You're still happy just finding these kills. TA cannot leave the point where the creeps meet up. They're just not safe going past any spot on the map. They haven't taken any tier 2 towers with Nature's Prophet. OG's the first one to find those objectives. And it just doesn't feel like that's what you want to be doing when you have the Nature's Prophet. And it's been very passive coming out from Pakaz, joining in every now and again, but he's not really pushing the envelope onto the objectives. And if you're not finding the objectives, if you're not slowing down the farm pace of OG, sure, you're ahead in the NP, but the sacrifices you're making on Sacred, on Dark Mago are building up.
Right, it's one thing to get this farm going, but it's another thing to utilize that farm. And so far, we haven't really seen so much utilization here from Pakaz. Again, I kind of wonder at what stage he says, screw it, let's get together as a team and go. For now, he's working for the AC. Fair enough. That might be the time. OG, they may not want to wait that long. They've still got that Aegis available on BZM. Just for a little bit longer. Trying to make that work out for them. Still 19-19, 3K advantage. Very, very close matchup. You'll see Pakaz again. His net worth skyrockets. Does it translate to kills? Does it translate to impact? Not quite yet. I don't think so.
Not that much. I mean, he's showing up in a couple of good pickoffs, but in the bigger fights, he just kind of backs off. The team cops the gank. They don't go in, and you know the investment just doesn't feel like it's showing up in the 5v5s.
Absolutely not. Here we go again. Game will resume. Cars down to the bot lane. Just keeping the lanes pushed out. Seems like that's all he's interested in right now. Uragi, of course, working on towards the Eye of Skadi. Still a fair while away from that, and hell, ATF picks up the Aghanim Scepter now for himself on the Mars.
Yeah, that's the big timing for him. He loves that build-up going into the Satanic next. Just going to be a big, unmovable shield that Thunder Awaken will have to find a way to pierce through. And it just feels like when you drag this game out, your scaling just doesn't quite match. You've got a Timbersaw, you've got a Tiny. The Tiny's late-game scaling was pretty much severely cut with the attack speed nerf onto that hero. So building up into a right-click, Tiny takes a lot more investment. The NP is still decent. They do smoke up, though.
Here we go. 5-on-5 smoke situation. Into the mid-river they go. It's BZM. He's going to have his smoke broken. Dark Mago. He gets the avalanche off. Matthew jumps in. But a great bushwhack out from Chu, locking him down. BZM already onto a double. They'll at least find the Aegis, but what does it matter? With the buyback on both supports, but do they find anything out of this? Dark Mago, another toss back. They at least find ATF at Uragi. He'll force the fight. Wukong's command out. Dark Mago, he might just drop, and he does. Sacred chaining forward. Where's he gone though? He will go down. BZM finds another successful team fight for the side of OG.
Oh man, it looked a bit dicey. Getting the Aegis is nice, but you need those kills.
Do lock down BZM, 4 staff away, however. He's going to be fine for now. In fact, BKB pop, they'll go for another team fight. Panzermoo, he'll die back immediately onto Pakaz. BKB is there, trying to chase BZM, but BZM's just fine. Pakaz now, needing to back his way out. The BKB will wear off, but the chase is still going. OG, do they have detection? The dust, it doesn't connect with Pakaz. He's going to be all right. He'll back his way up, but OG still having a very, very strong team fight for themselves as Pakaz moving back in now with the Sprout and Silver Edge out, but the stolen Sprout is there from Chu, locking the Nature's Prophet back down. Tiger, he's around as well, but they don't want to make the jump in. Not quite yet, Pakaz. He will be able to walk his way out of this one, but OG, they should be very happy about that team fight.
Well, they come out way ahead. They managed to get their positioning right. It looked a little bit dicey again at the start. It looked like maybe Thunder Awaken found a good angle, taking out the OD early, but they just couldn't follow through. And Amar got an amazing save on the arena with a great drop on the sand. He's out from BZM, just blowing them up, softening them up so much that it didn't feel like a good fight anymore.
Certainly did not. Amar setting up once again, just a perfect arena. Thunder Awaken, now 4K behind. Again, all their gold just seems to be onto Pakaz. Heavily relying on this Prophet being able to carry them through this game. Pakaz, he's still like 6.5K ahead of Yuragi. Just doesn't translate when you're up against 5 heroes at once. And there you go. Highest amount of last hits at 31 minutes at any hero at this event, Jonathan. 376.
I mean, he has just been focusing on that CS. So you would hope that at least you get something out like that for Pakaz. I still feel like the build-up into something like...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Apparently there was a global silence happening in this arena. A damn silencer, Jonathan. Who picked silencer?
I don't see any silencers, but someone definitely wanted us to shut the hell up there, Mike. The game is still going on. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like we've missed too much, as the tension's still building up for both sides. 6K lead for OG still standing. They've got the specialist array already up on BZM, a very interesting new neutral here to watch out for. So should be keen. Oh, it's on Yuragi, actually. So we'll see if that makes a pretty big difference. It only works on range. The attributes are pretty good. TA again. We were talking about the investment. You already have a nice Sacred Relic for Pakaz. I'm wondering what he finishes up. He's flying something out here.
They do. Smoke up. Double damage is available, though, on the Monkey King right now, I believe. So it's going to be a hell of a lot of damage here for Yuragi. They're going to run right into him. Yuragi. Oh, what a bounce strike into the arena. Perfect setup for OG. They just get wiped. Oh, you love to see it. The dream for Yuragi. They ran right into his loving arms, Sean.
That is massive. TA, they just get this buyout
Oh,
on
here
Pakaz.
we
He
go.
doesn't have
The
buyback.
OG magic gets started on Pakaz. He's been caught out. Can they get him? Yes, they can. Make that a full team wipe.
This is scary. This is just scary. Fortunately, Tier 2 still stand. Roshan is spawning up shortly, though. No buyback on the NP, but it doesn't feel like they should lose all too much. However, OG, they're fully farmed up. If they want to force the issue, if they want to pierce the Tier 3s, there's not much left from Thunder Awakening to kind of stop them. They have to hold for a minute, and that should give OG at least maybe a free Aegis here.
That'll be the Tier 2 mid tower to drop. Roshan is up, so they'll head their way back. Thunder Awaken now 14K net worth behind. Oh, what a disastrous team fight. They just ran right into the Boundless Strike of Uragi. You hate to see it if you're a Thunder Awaken fan. So they will go right into the Roshan, second Roshan of the game now. Shards and Aegis are going to be up. We'll have a replay. Look at this shot.
Oh
Uragi, perfect Boundless. Line them up.
It's just so much team fight coming out from OG. In comparison, Thunder Awakening's draft, not as much AoE control. They're kind of just stuck with the Bushwhack to really keep heroes locked in. So it's pretty damn tough for them to actually take these fights 5v5 as everyone else does. And that can cause a couple of issues there. So they've got to watch themselves in these engagements. The vision coming out from Uragi has been big. His positioning on the Monkey King has just been on point. And for Thunder Awakening, they don't have that same vision control. They do have some mobility with a Timbersaw and, you know, with a blink up on Dark Mago, but at this point, the burst damage you're seeing from both of those heroes kind of shot down.
OG looking to go for more now. Uragi, he'll get started on that top tier 2 tower. You've got the Scythe device available on BZM as well, so even more control out on the OD. Suddenly that net worth gap not so large anymore between the cores and Pakaz. In we go, tier 2 top tower to drop OG. You think they can go for higher ground yet, John? Do you think they just take it easy?
They could force the issue if they wanted to. They probably want to maybe get a little bit more build-up. No real reason to wait too much, but they are shutting down the map really well. Thunder Awaken, this is the point where it goes back to Pakaz on the NP. He's got to be able to split push. He did go for a very fight-oriented build with a Satanic and Nullifier, and of course that Silver Edge earlier on, going for the full Revenant's Brooch as well. But that's not going to help him push. He doesn't have something like a Maelstrom, a Mjolnir to kind of just shove out the wave. The process for the NP to just make it a little bit more awkward to push isn't quite there.
Absolutely. We'll take the outpost of the Radiant side. Thunder Awaken, they are on the other side of the mid lane right now, but not feeling too safe. Uragi, he'll move in and show himself, but nobody wanting to make the jump in as Hurricane Pike is there, but a nice blink. Dark Mago is out. OG still trying to make their way into that triangle. Won't find anyone apart from some Treants. Meanwhile, though, mid lane, Tiger does get caught out. So Thunder Awaken, they do at least find themselves support. Amar is around. Jump in. Uragi. Not making the jump in quite yet. Pakaz, he'll BKB TP out. They'll take the Viper kill, and that'll be about it for Thunder Awaken. OG, they find nothing.
Yeah, it's starting to hurt every single time Thunder Awaken are forced to like BKB away. They're not the aggressors. And every time they group up for those fights, as we saw last time, OG's positioning and their read of what TA wants to do is pretty damn good. They still have the Aegis running for a good long time, 2.5 minutes left on that. They're building into this full Bloodtorn now for Uragi, so he's going to have additional control and burst on hand. And again, just Amar with his build, with the Ags, along with the Satanic already finished up into the AC. I mean, this Mars is almost unkillable.
Certainly is, John. Certainly is. Pakaz still trying to farm up that Brooch. Have it eventually. They did spot him down at the bot lane, though, so OG slowly starting to rotate their way over. Dark Mago, be there as well. Amar wobbling forward, trying to have a look around for that Prophet. Not able to find him yet. Looks like Thunder Awaken, they've seen enough. They'll back their way out. It's only Pandamu has been left behind down in this bot lane. ATF might still be able to find him, though. They make the blink in, they will catch him. It's something, John. Not the greatest kill, but it's something.
Yeah, you'll take it. You know, it's a freebie. You don't really mind too much. You just find something for your trouble. That does give TA a little bit of room to work the lanes. You can see Pakaz just shoving up top.
Oh, Uragi having a look around, scouting Pakaz. He doesn't know the balance is there. Spear to follow up. They'll lock him down. And there's no way up in this one. Pakaz tries to man up, and it's not going to work. Massive pick off for OG.
Oh boy, there's no buyback on Pakaz as well. The biggest pick-off you could ask for here for OG, and now they can start to clump up. They're pushing in top, they're pushing in mid. The high ground is a very big possibility for them. And Thunder Awakening, again, with that issue that they have with all the farm being on Pakaz, him having no buyback means there's likely no high ground defense.
He's 200 gold short, John. In they jump. Dark Mago gets caught out. Lift is there. Matthew, can he really save? Not quite. They'll take down the Tiny. Onto Sacred. The Timber will make his way out, but in they go for that mid-rax. They want the objective. Still BCM. Gonna get tossed back. Hurricane Pike out. Uragi back in. Onto Dark Mago. He wants a Tiny. Meanwhile, Sacred being controlled up by the support Viper. Might just drop We'll go for the TP out and should be just fine, but no ATF. He found a spear, cancelling the TP. Meanwhile, Dark Mago still trying to back off the Sacred. Somehow still alive. Dark Mago, he'll make the jump back in, but a nice lift up too. He's there. Dark Mago dropping too low. Might just drop and does go down. That'll be a tieback for the Tiny. 100 seconds without him. There's Pandamu also going down. The mid-rack's completely open now for OG. They've got 10 seconds without the Prophet. But the mid-rack surely is just going to drop though. No. OG, they won't stick around through the glyph. They will hang around on the low ground, however, hoping somebody makes their way over. That'll be enough for them. Just a tier 3 tower.
Yeah, they respect that fight out from Thunder Awaken. They managed to find the angle in, isolate a couple of heroes. Toss back is still pretty big in this defensive fight. So once you're out of position, TA can still clean up, and they do manage to do a great job of just stalling out for Pakaz to be back up. Still one tower down, they're going to have to keep constant track of that mid lane. And look at that cheeky ward OG plays. It's just a little bit more forward from the cliffside. Still should be spottable by a sentry, but you're going to get some value there from OG if they do want to clump up again.
Definitely very cheeky, John. Pakaz top lane. Show himself for a moment, but immediately just needs to TP his way out. We'll do so. He's thinking about it. OG, meanwhile, wrapping towards that top lane, not willing to allow the split push to just constantly happen here from Thunder Awaken. 42 minutes in now, 22 to 34, still a 22k advantage for OG. No racks is being taken, however. Just one tier 3 tower. Thunder Awaken building up even more here onto Pakaz. Just keep that farm going on this Prophet. Keep that split push going, and eventually you might find yourself an opening. OG, do you think they wait for next Roshan?
Yeah, and that was their attempt with an Aegis, so surely the one next fix is they can't really take that without a fight. They are going for the smoke, so maybe if they find a pick-off, they can just go straight to the high ground once more. You do have buyback up on several key heroes from Thunder this time around, though, so they will have the option to fight again.
ATF, they'll make the blink in. Dark Mago, Sacred, they're both going to get caught out. Sight the Vice, lock the Timber down. He's gone, and so is Pandamu. 2 down on Thunder Awaken. There'll be no more around to go for, but maybe OG can look back towards the high ground.
Yeah, again, they've got that forward vision that hasn't been dewarded yet by Thunder Awaken, and they take out the Tim. No buyback in the Ogre, buyback available for Sacred, but it was very optimistic to try to jump a Mars. Sure, you're a Timbersaw, you can rip through strength heroes.
Uh-oh.
He's just way too tanky.
Tier
They're going
4
for tier
towers.
4s.
They want the buybacks out from Sacred, and they might just get it. Sacred still 49 seconds away from respawning. The Ogre has no buyback available. One tier 4 tower going down now. OG going for another. Dark Mago, he's jumped in with the Scythe, the Vice. BZM locks him down. They even found another. Matthew being caught out. In fact, that's Pakaz. Oh, the Prophet. He'll buy back immediately, but the Ancient, it's completely exposed now. Going down, OG, do they go for the kills? They will try. The Ancient's just going through his buyback, or rather tieback is there. Pakaz is gone. GG is called. OG able to take game number 1 against Thunder Awaken.
Oh man, that's a fantastic game coming out from OG. Thunder Awaken, it looked like they had a really good early game. Right, they were getting a lot out from their lanes. They were getting a supreme amount of